Hello again. We're going to walk around up here in the second level for our second episode of this Torment sort of Let's Play. This is the second level of the Mortuary. We'll get wandering around. Love the music. You can even hear the crematorium in the background burning things.
All right.
We're going to leave Mort here just to float about like a skull. We're looking for a particular skeleton. You can mess around with these guys, but we're not really gonna do that. And Mort has this funny little interaction about stealing their bodies. I wonder if this Greybeard mind if I would borrow his body. Greybeard, you know, geezer, old fellow, yellow dog, old. Why not take his body? Alright then, let's go. You can't actually get Mort a body. But we are going to try to get this Dustman to notice us. You there, hold. The Dustman regards you with a stony gaze. Are you lost? Yes. I'll summon a guard to direct you. Hold a moment. Snap his neck before he can call out. Before the Dustman can utter a word, your hands clamp onto his temples, and you twist his head sharply to the left. Can't have you alerting your friends. There's a crack and the Dustman falls limp in your arms. Better you than me, Dusty. To your surprise, the act seemed instinctual, as if you'd done it many times before. With this thought comes the stirring of a memory, but it's not strong enough to surface. Leave the body and continue on.
All right.
Now, we're going to put on our Dustman robes. And no one will know the difference. You can see we've also changed our picture a bit now that we're wearing a Dustman disguise. Oh, that's not the proper one.
I'm gone.
No, where's that? Ah, here we go. So this is corpse number 42, the one we had a memory about in the previous video. I think this is the one I had the memory about. At the sound of your voice, the skeleton suddenly straightens up. It crosses its arms over its chest and its fingers hook into its ribcage. In response to you crossing your arms, the skeleton drops its arms to its sides. The leather cords securing the skeleton's torso snap, and the ribcage folds outward like a pair of double doors. Reach into the ribcage and feel around. To your surprise, your hand vanishes as you reach inside the ribcage. You have a strange feeling it's somewhere else. As you reach inside the ribcage, your hand bumps against an invisible object. It's about the size of a fist and seems to be attached to the skeleton's spine. Take the item out. As you pull the item out, the skeleton suddenly disintegrates, and the iron bolts securing the joints clatter to the floor. Whatever the item was, it seems to have been the only thing holding it together. Examine the item. It looks like an unremarkable lump of iron. You can't imagine why someone would hide it inside the ribcage of a skeleton. As you place both your hands on the lump of iron to examine it, there's a hiss, and the metal evaporates, leaving behind a strange dagger, a handful of coins wrapped in a dirty cloth, and 2 bloody teardrops. These look like they were inside the lump of iron. Take the items and leave.
Done.
And we leveled up. So look at that. We get a characteristic point, some saving throws, 10 hit points. And we're going to put our bonus point in wisdom. Okay, now we don't have that much to do.
All right.
Other than loot around this area a bit.
All right.
We actually want that junk for later.
I'm gone.
That's one of those items that you end up carrying around with you the whole game, basically. There's a crowbar. And a Dustman note. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, so this one, they're having problems with worker number 2. They think it has some sort of soul memory. And I'm going to play a little bit of inventory Tetris just to speed things along.
I'm gone. Locked. Forced it.
And then one of these, this corpse's meaty head was clearly severed at some point and hastily sewn back on. Several different sets of stitching, all in various states of unraveling, seem to indicate that the head is constantly being knocked back off and reattached during the course of its work. A number, 79, has been cut into its temple, circumscribed by a fanged circle that appears to have been branded on its forehead. Examine the fanged circle. The fanged circle looks like it was branded on the corpse's forehead long ago, presumably before it died. It might be a religious icon of some sort or a rite of passage. You notice that one of the recesses between the inner fangs has a small triangle within it, as if it has some special significance. And it turns out that it's very similar to the ring that we've got. And you can pull the skeletons apart, but it doesn't actually do anything for you.
I'm gone. Done.
Now that Dusty's in the way of the bin I want in.
All right.
That skeleton, or this zombie's all burnt up, but nothing else more about him. He's just a funny colored zombie. Oh, this one has a note in him. Yeah, unhook the string and take the parchment. Don't need those rags. And the note inside of that zombie is a request for the pry bar that I now hold in my hands. Oh, it's just some junk. We don't need that. And mortuary task list. This is just about how they deal with the workers and what they do with them. So we'll just leave that behind.
All right. Locked. Failed.
Uh-oh.
Failed. Failed. I'm gone.
Okay, we need to get Mort to run up here real quick. See if he can unlock that bin for us.
All right.
Failed. Failed. Okay.
All right. Forced it.
There we go. So that gives us a charm to use later. I'll go over what the charms do later at the end of this particular episode. But we get it open with the pry bar, and that gets us our bone charm, which, if you remember, the zombie in the last area told us that we needed a finger bone in the shape of a crook to escape through the portal.
I'm gone.
And now we've got it.
Done.
I need this little bin over here. Perfect.
Done. I'm gone. All right.
Just loot around in these.
Done.
And there's a sledgehammer, so we'll take that too. And that's it for this level, I believe. That's the crematorium over there. You can't walk into it and you don't burn up if you do. Some people think that maybe they had intended for it to, but you don't actually. And now we're in position to leave. We've explored... This is the second floor, which we already did in the previous episode. So we're going to go down. And this is the final level.
All right.
There are a lot of dustmen here,
I'm gone.
but we have a little mission to do.
I'm gone.
See, these are very large skeletons. There's a humorous little conversation you can get with them. With Mort, which I'll show in a little bit.
All right.
But before we do that, we need a little help. So this corpse has number 732 in it, and it has a book. And we're going to take the book out of his hands and leave the corpse. So this is the Tome of Bone and Ash, and it talks about how they deal with those guardians, which are those very large skeletons. And the book is too complex for us to absorb, but you can refer to certain sections again as the need arises. And we'll play a little bit more of the inventory Tetris. And now we'll go back up and mess with these skeletons. Before you is a giant skeleton in ornate bronze armor. The armor has been bolted onto the skeleton's frame, and a series of elaborate symbols have been carved across the breastplate. You wonder where the skeleton came from. You weren't aware they made humans in this size. The huge blade in its hands looks like it weighs as much as a wagon cart. Hey, how about this skeleton, Mort? Will this do as a body? Mort grins. I don't know how he grins, because he's a skull. Is that a yes or a... Oh, sorry. Mort floats up to the head of the skeleton, stares at it, then floats back down, studying the armor and the blade. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I think it'll do. Then what in Bader did you ask me if I wanted it for, then? Practicing your cruelty skills? Mort bobs indignantly. And after all I've done for you. I tell him I'm worried it might hurt him. Mort stares at you for a moment. What, did we get married at some point? What's all this? I don't want to get hurt, Wash. If you really cared, you'd find a way to get my head on that giant skeleton's body. As you're about to do so, you suddenly stop and your eyes are drawn to the skeleton's armor. Something about the symbols engraved on its breastplate makes you pause. If these skeletons are guardians, then disturbing them may awaken them. Examine it carefully. The skeleton's intricate bronze armor is riveted onto its ribcage and shoulder blades with a series of iron bolts. As you study the frame behind the armor, you notice the same iron bolts are set into the skeleton's shoulder, elbow, pelvic, and knee joints. A mass of thick leather cords and heavy knotted ropes run along the length of the skeleton's arms and legs, woven in such a pattern that they resemble muscles and tendons. Examine the armor. Despite the armor's obvious age, it looks well cared for. It shines brightly, and the symbols engraved on the breastplate seem to flow in the firelight, shifting slightly whenever you try to focus on them. Study the symbols. Almost unconsciously, you set your gaze relax as you look at the symbols. After a moment, the symbols cease shifting and resolve into a trail of runes that run up and down the breastplate. Strangely enough, the interlocking pattern of runes reminds you of chains, and with that thought, you suddenly recall that these runes are some sort of warding enchantment. We'll study the runes and try to recall the enchantment. You study the runes for a while, but you can't decipher the enchantment. It looks pretty complicated. Compare them to those in the Tome of Blood and Ash. You consult the tome and compare the diagrams to the markings on the breastplate. From what you can make out, the runes are a lesser armoring enchantment, but several skull-shaped runes and spherical tracings along the edges of the armor suggest that several greater necromantic and warding enchantments are woven in as well. Touching the skeleton will most likely cause it to awaken and defend itself. Consult the tome, see if you can determine how they can be broken. From what you can make out from the tome, it seems that the armoring enchantment applies only to the breastplate. The necromantic enchantment allows the skeleton to be raised, but it is the warding enchantment that gives it the skeleton limited awareness of its surroundings. You'd guess that if you were to mar the skeleton's wards, it would interpret it as an attack, unless you blinded it to your presence first. So, you need to do it in the right order. You need to kill the warning enchantment, then go backwards through to disable the skeleton, which is what this option is. The work is difficult and nerve-wracking at first, but slowly your mind begins to focus, and the runes begin to unravel beneath your attack. Within minutes, the giant skeleton has been stripped of the enchantments binding it. It collapses, falling to the floor with a crash of bones and a heavy clanging noise. Damn pile of bones. You wait for a moment, but no one responds to the sound. Moving quickly, you sift through the skeleton's parts on the floor. Most of it's too heavy or too old to be useful, but you discover a piece of the skeleton's breastplate with a majority of one of the broken enchantments engraved on it. You have a feeling it could prove useful. I'll just take that then. And that's, it's a spell scroll, basically. You can read that off of it, and you'll get a spell. If you become a wizard at some point.
All right.
So now there are 4 skeletons in this room, and we're just going to do the same thing again to all of them.
Looks like my skills have increased.
And that will net 4 of those spell plates, as well as 800 experience of pop, so it's pretty nice. And it's the same thing every time.
I'm gone.
And the armor is too heavy, so we're gonna give it to Mort, and he's gonna carry it around wherever it is that Mort stores items.
All right.
And then I'll show you where the portal is, because there's no more for us to do here, really. Well, to a degree. But if you have the crooked finger bone in your inventory, the portal will open right there, and that will allow you to leave. But we're not going to do that yet. If you'll remember, Dahl told us that a former traveling companion is interred here, and the plaque on the bier says Dianera. I happen to love Dianera's soundtrack. It's pretty great. So I'm just gonna... I wanted to play a little bit. You see a strikingly beautiful ghostly form before you. Her arms are crossed and her eyes are closed. She has long flowing hair and her gown seems stirred by some ethereal breeze. As you watch, she stirs slightly and her eyes flicker.
You. What is it that brings you here? Have you come to see firsthand the misery you have wrought? Perhaps in death I still hold some shred of use for you, my love.
Who are you? The spirit makes a begging motion with their hands. How can it be that the thieves of the mind continue to steal my name from your memory? Do you not remember me, my love? The ghost stretches out her arms. Think. Her voice becomes desperate. The name Dianara must evoke some memory within you. I think I feel the stirrings of memory. Tell me more. Perhaps your words shall chase the shadows from my mind, Dianara. Oh, at last the fates show mercy. Even death cannot chase me from your mind, my love. Do you not see me? Your memories shall return. Tell me how I can help you, and I shall. Do you know who I am? You are one both blessed and cursed, my love, and you are one who is never far from my thoughts and heart. Blessed and cursed, what do you mean? The nature of your curse should be apparent, my love. Look at you, she points at you. Death rejects you. Your memories have abandoned you. Do you not pause and wonder why? I'm still trying to get my bearings, actually. What else can you tell me about myself? I know that you once claimed you loved me, and that you would love me until death claimed us both. I believed that, never knowing the truth of who you were, what you were. And what am I? I cannot. She suddenly freezes, and she speaks slowly, carefully, as if her voice frightens her. The truth is this. You are one who dies many deaths. These deaths have given the knowing of all things mortal, and in your hand lies the spark of life and death. Those that die near you carry a trace of themselves that you can bring forth. As Dynara speaks the words, a crawling sensation wells up in the back of your skull. You suddenly feel compelled to look at your hand, and you lift it up and look at it. You can see the blood coursing sluggishly through your arm, pouring into your muscles and in turn giving strength to your bones. What? And you know Dynara is right. You suddenly remember how to coax the dimmest spark of life from a body and bring it forth. The thought both horrifies you and intrigues you. You now have the ability to raise the dead.
Updated my journal.
What is it you wish to know? Who are you? Oh, we've already gone down that. Do you know who I am? Can you tell me where I am? Where are you while you're here with me, my love? And in the times when life was something both of us shared, now it is the eternal boundary that separates us. We already heard about the eternal boundary. I keep clicking that because I'm an idiot. I need to escape. As you're about to ask Dynara the question, it catches in your throat. It occurs to you that if you tell her you're looking for an escape route, she may feel you're abandoning her. If you're going to ask her how to leave, you'll need to be delicate about it. Dynara, I'm in danger. Can you guide me to a place of safety? I shall return as soon as I can to speak with you again. In danger? Dynara looks concerned. Of course, my love. I'll aid you any way I can. She closes her eyes for a moment, and you watch an ethereal zephyr pass through her body, stirring her hair. After a moment, the zephyr dies, and her eyes slowly open. Perhaps there is a way. I sense that this place holds many doors shrouded from mortal eyes. Perhaps you could use one of these portals. Portals? Portals are holes in existence, leading to destinations in the inner and outer planes. If you could find the proper key, you would escape through one of them. Key? Dynara pauses for a moment as if attempting to remember. Portals will reveal themselves when you have the proper key. Unfortunately, these keys can be almost anything. An emotion, a piece of wood, a dagger of silvered glass, a scrap of cloth, a tune you hummed to yourself. I fear that the dustmen are the only ones that would know the keys they could use to leave their halls, my love. And that's all the more we can ask. Nothing now, Dynara, though I shall return. Hold a moment. I learned much when I traveled with you, my love, and what you have lost I have retained. I have not divulged all that I know to you. My sight is clear, whilst you fumbled in the darkness for a spark of thought. And what is it your sight sees that I do not? Time itself relaxes its hold as the chill of oblivion slowly claims us, my love. Glimpses of things yet to come swarm across my vision. I see you, my love. I see you as you are now, and Dynara grows quiet. What is it? What is it that you see? I see what lies ahead of you. It ripples through the plains, stemming outward from this point. Shall I speak of what I see? Tell me. First, I require a promise. Promise you will return, that you will find some means to save me or join me. Make a vow. I swear I will find some means to save you or join you. You can also lie. In game terms, what this does is, obviously all these other things will get some other conversation out of her. But if you lie, it makes you more chaotic. If you make vows, it makes you more lawful in your alignment, which can influence some things. I'll make a vow. I swear I'll find her.
This is what my eyes see, my love. Unfettered by the shackles of time. You shall meet enemies 3, but none more dangerous than yourself in your full glory. They are shades of evil, of good, and of neutrality, given life and twisted by the laws of the plains. You shall come to a prison built of regrets and sorrow, where the shadows themselves have gone mad. There you will be asked to make a terrible sacrifice, my love. For the matter to be laid to rest, you must destroy that which keeps you alive, and be immortal no longer.
Destroy what keeps me alive?
I know that you must die, while you still can. The circle must come to a close, my love. You were not meant for this life. You must find that which was taken from you and travel beyond, into the lands of the dead.
Updated my journal.
Die while I still can. I do not doubt your ability to rise from the dead. I do believe that every incarnation weakens your thoughts and memories. You claim you have lost your memory. Perhaps it's a side effect of countless deaths. If so, what more will you lose in successive deaths? If you lose your mind, you will not even know enough to realize that you can't die. You shall truly be doomed. Countless deaths? How long has this been going on? I don't truly know, except that it has gone on long enough.
I shall wait for you in death's halls, my love.
She smiles, but there's only sadness in it. She closes her eyes, and with an ethereal whisper, she fades. You back with me, Chief? You kinda drifted out on me there. No, I'm fine. Do you know what that spirit was? Eh? Spirit? That specter I was talking to, the woman. You were rattling your bone box with some woman. Where? Mark looks around excited. What did she look like? She was right on top of the byre. Didn't you see her? No. You just kinda drifted out there for a bit. Just stood there, statue-like. I was a little worried you'd gone addled on me again. No, I'm fine, I think. Let's move on.
All right. I'm gone. Done.
So you'll notice I took my disguise off. I'm now talking to Sogo, I think is his name. When I was a kid, I always used to call him Sergio, just because it was more fun. His narrow face is extremely pale, and he doesn't look as if he's been sleeping. His shoulders are slumped, and the flesh sags loosely beneath his bloodshot eyes. He looks so lost in thought he doesn't even notice you. Greetings. Greetings! The man turns to face you and makes a slight bow. You suddenly notice that his eyes aren't bloodshot so much as they have a red tinge to them. I am Sogo. How may I... He suddenly seems to notice your scars, and the corner of his mouth twitches. I'm sorry, sir. Are you lost? I'm not lost. I had some questions. I don't recall admitting you. Sogo looks at you suspiciously, and his eyes gleam red in the light of the torches. May I ask what you're doing here? I was here for an internment earlier, paying my respects. I'm ready to leave, but I seem to have gotten turned around. Can you help me find the exit? Sogo nods, and the corner of his mouth twitches. Why, of course, these halls can be confusing to visitors. No harm done, but you're not permitted here in the mortuary after 9 bells. Let me open the front gate for you. He's taking his sweet time about it. Very well, the front gate is now unlocked, but you cannot re-enter. Can I ask you some questions? If I may ask, are you alright? You look tired. Sogo manages a weak smile, and he says that he's ill, fevers, anything I could do. No, it's fine. Do you know someone named Farad? Farad, of course I know him. A ghoulish man, no respect for the dead, and even less for the living. He's a scavenger, a collector. Do you know where I could find him? I know he resides in the Hive, the slums outside the mortuary, but I do not know exactly where. Some of the other collectors may know. I'm missing a journal. A journal? No, I've not seen one. Thanks anyway. Farewell.
Done.
And we're going to leave through the front door. And this is Sigil, and we're outside the mortuary. It's so dirty and stained with soot that there's no light through it. So, that'll be the end of this episode, but I'm going to go over a couple basic things in case you're confused. So, Needle and Thread heals us. These blood clot things also are like healing magic. But you've also got other charms that do other things. So like the crook that would have activated the portal also gives us armor class bonuses. The corpse fly charm casts a spell. Anybody can use it. And you've got other stuff that doesn't really do anything. Embalming fluid heals us. And then, you know, these other little items. I guess we'll do the ring too while we're here, because we figured out what it does. Insert your fingernail. You hook your fingernail into the third groove at the top and press it inwards. As you do, there's a click and the top of the earring snaps open. Not only can you wear the earring now, it looks like there's a secret compartment. Shake the earring. Nothing comes out. Put the earring away. So that's the mortuary, and our next run around will be in Sigil, which is the city that the mortuary is in.